Welcome back for another episode, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in and supporting us by watching these videos. Now, before we continue, go ahead and take a second and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon. That way you get notified of the new videos we are releasing every single week. Now, today we are going to go over crime in North Idaho and how it is just going bonkers. It's going crazy, it's spreading. Well, that's only true if you believe what you're seeing on Facebook. Before we go into all the numbers, I'm going to go off topic. Well, I'm going to go in left field a little bit. It's not really off topic, so just bear with me. So when we made the decision to leave Arizona, we were doing the research like I'm sure you are. We're looking at the crime rate, what the weather is like, the population density, the school system, all of that. And our first trip to North Idaho was in 2016 in the wintertime. We go up to Sandpoint to the Parnell Ranch, and the ranch hands gave us a tour on a sleigh ride, and we're having a good conversation. We lead into what do I do for a living, of course, and I tell them from Phoenix, Arizona, lived there for 30 years, copped there for 10 years, and we're discussing a little bit about some of the stories and some of the things I was involved in, and they tell me, well, hey, you should do law enforcement up here. We've only had 2 shootings in the last 10 years. And I remember telling them, well, that sounds great because in the precinct I work in, we get 2 shootings a night. So now fast forward when we actually moved to Sandpoint a year or 2 later, and I'm not kidding, the week that we moved to Sandpoint, there was 2 shootings that week. And I remember looking at Jessica saying, we just left all this craziness. What's with the shootings? I thought we left it all. And we did. There's definitely, I think those were the last shootings up here. So why are we going over this topic? Well, it's like the number 3 question that I get asked from people moving from out of state to North Idaho. Ben, what is the crime rate like? What is crime like? What's the most repetitive crime that you see in North Idaho? And my first initial thought when I get asked this question is, well, the crime rate, it's low. It's low, like really low. But I'm not really doing the due diligence because it has been a while since I looked at the numbers. It's not fair to just kind of go off of memory, old data that I was using when I moved up here, or it's not fair to use just my observation of what I'm seeing. So I decided to get back into the numbers, and now we are going to go over the numbers. I used 4 different sources to do some research and then kind of put this all together. And so what were these 4 sources? crimegrade.org, bestplaces.net, citystats.com, and there was actually a really good article from the Daily Bonner Bee. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description, so check it out. There's a lot of good information. I really liked the article. So after reviewing those sources, what did I come up with? Well, Sandpoint and Coeur, they graded out the same at about a B+. Now, Sandpoint saw more property crime with less violent crime, but Coeur d'Alene was even. And that's really coincides with what I see up here, specifically in Sandpoint. There's a lot more property crime, vandalism than you hear or even see with violent crimes. Now, what I really liked to see in the article from the Daily Bee is that Sandpoint and Coeur d'Alene is 74% safer than all the other cities in the United States, which is great. I actually want to go visit some of the 26% cities or towns rather and see what they're like, because it's uber safe in North Idaho. I feel very safe and comfortable even with my kids going out and about. So anyways, that was really pleasing to hear. And what I saw in the article again is that crime in North Idaho from 2000 to 2021 fell 5.7%, which is huge, which is a great number. And another stat that they had in there, for every 3,800 crimes, there was 3,800 crimes per 100,000 people, which is just staggering. That is great. That means if a crime happens, very unlikely it's going to happen to you. Now, what was really interesting was that the drug offenses stayed relatively the same. They moved up just a little bit, but property crime dropped, and typically those go hand in hand because typically you're breaking into people's houses to steal their stuff so you can go buy your drugs. So that was a little weird, but hey, I'll take a drop in property crime. What was also really cool was that violent crimes, assaults, also dropped in that same time frame. Now here's the big thing. For some reason, everyone still thinks that there's a bunch of haters, neo-Nazis, and Aryan Brotherhood people up here in North Idaho. There could be some. I haven't seen them. I don't see hate crime. The people that I hang out with, they're not seeing it. Now, that doesn't mean it's not there. I get it. I understand it. But what's really encouraging in Bonner and Boundary County, so basically from Silverwood, if you know where that is, all the way up to the Canadian border, there was zero hate crimes reported. Now, in Cunningham County, where Coeur d'Alene is at, and Hayden and Athol, well, part of Athol, guess how many they had in 2022? That's right, 0, a goose egg. So in the 3 northern counties, in all of 2022, there was 2 hate crimes. So what does this all mean? How much crime is there in North Idaho? Not that much. Yes, there's some. Of course, there's going to be some drug offenses, property crimes, and violent crimes. But it's not that bad. We are one of the safest places in the nation. I'm not seeing a bunch of crime out there. I'm totally comfortable and feel safe here. I feel comfortable and safe with my kids, going to the parks and not having an eagle eye on them. So if that is a concern of yours when you move up here, you might want to remove it or maybe just move it down on your list. Idaho, North Idaho is a safe community.